Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be about glyph farming, diving into a sample size that I have about the data in doing so, tackling a few different topics like what is the average glyph star rank in those end game levels that you can expect if you do a bunch of runs, what's going to be the average rank 4, 5, 6 star, and then are speed glyphs less common? A lot of people have a theory that it's very tough to get speed glyphs and they drop at a lower rate than the other glyphs in the game, so we'll talk about that. And then also we'll dive into, is stage 21 worth it? Is there a significant benefit to farming stage 21 of Faction Wars as opposed to stages 18, 19, 20, because it takes a lot longer, it's a lot tougher, and what is the difference between stage 21 and the other stages? So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, doing a glyph video presents different challenges. It's why I haven't done one yet, because it takes a lot of time. This video is a few months in the making, compared to a dragon drop rate analysis video where me by myself, I can slam a bunch of refills and chart a bunch of data relatively quickly in a couple days or so. But I can't do that with Faction Wars. I can't refresh my keys. I can't buy more faction keys. I can't do anything to increase and get a massive sample size quickly. So I did do my best. I reached out to my clan and tried to get people to help me with charting runs, but it was tough to get them to do that consistently and remember to do that every day. So it did take me a few months to get to a point where I have at least a sample size that's respectable enough to look at some data and make a video. It's not going to be perfect. I don't have thousands of runs, and there's not much I can do about that, but I do think I have finally gotten to a point where I've got hundreds of runs, and I'm starting to see some trends in the data that is enough to make a video about and share that information with you. But remember, it's not perfect. It's not going to be decimal perfect. You're just going to have to take the information I'm giving you and then form your own opinions based around the ones that I have. I do also have a video about glyph dollar values. Let me pop up the infographic that I did for that video. I'll try to remember to have a card pop up there about the glyph value video that I did. You can see here that speed glyphs are about 4 or 5 times more valuable than the other good glyphs in the game. So I won't talk about that too much. I'll leave a link up there if you want to go ahead and check that out. So let's put that away for now, but I will have that video, like I said, if you want to be able to see that and look it over for a longer amount of time. So now, the first thing I want to talk about is what is the average star rank, and when it came to testing Faction Wars, I started at the point where you can get 6-star glyphs. So I'm not farming like stages 12 and 13 and stuff. I would love to gather data for all of the stages. That would be ideal, but it's just not realistic for me as one person with 1 or 2 other people helping me out to gather massive amounts of data for every single stage. So what I did was I focused it down to where we can get the 6-star glyphs. So that would technically be the end game of Faction Wars. So stage 18, 19, 20, and 21, and I charted the average glyph ranks for those stages. And admittedly, I did focus most of my runs and my testing on stages 20 and 21 because I thought that would be, if I can only choose a certain spot to focus, I thought that would be the most important, is to figure out exactly if and how much stage 21 is superior to stage 20. So I did focus most of my sample size on 20 and 21. I've got hundreds of runs in those stages, and what I found out was in stage 18 the average glyph rank was around 4.25 to 4.3, and then in stage 19 the average glyph rank was right at 4.50. So 19 was a little bit better than stage 18, and then stage 20 was 4.73, so another bump up. 18, 19, and 20, there was a bump up the whole way through. But what I found on stage 21 is the glyph rank was within 0.01 of stage 20, and it was actually behind stage 20. So my opinion is there is no difference in terms of average glyph rank from stage 21 to stage 20. It was 4.73 versus 4.72. So now, again, it would take thousands of runs to get this decimal perfect, but in my opinion, I don't think there's any difference in average glyph rank between stage 21 and stage 20. So in terms of the average quality of glyphs, it seems like it's worth it to progress all the way up to stage 20, but it looks like in terms of glyph quality, farming stage 20 is just as good as stage 21. And I didn't want to pop this up while I was talking about the stages, but now I will show you this here. So this is the actual charting sheet. If you watch my stream, you'll notice that I'm always doing this live on stream, charting every run I do, which is why I've got the massive sample size of like 160 on stage 20 and 21. And that was the main priority of my focus. But now if you look at the top right, you can see some of those averages and the numbers that I was talking about. The 4.28, 4.3 with stage 18, the 4.5 for stage 19, the 4.73 and the 4.72 for stage 20 and 21. You can see those numbers represented on the top right. So the next topic I want to talk about is, are speed glyphs in fact less common than other glyphs? I know it feels like it, and all of us are like, I never seem to get speed glyphs. It just never happens. They never drop for me. So I thought that was a really important thing to chart and make note of. And there are 9 different glyphs that can drop. You've got HP, HP percent, attack, attack percent, defense, defense percent, accuracy, and resistance. That's 8. And then speed is the coveted 9th glyph that can drop. Which means because we've got 9 different outcomes of possibility in terms of our glyph drop, each one dropping is going to be 11.1% if they are evenly weighted in terms of chance to drop. So if you notice on the top right of the screen, the speed percent, that is the percentage of time that I got a speed glyph, and it would be expected to be 11.1 if it's equally weighted, and it was 11.05. So barely less than the expected rate, but I would bet if I got a sample size of a few thousand runs, it would be exactly 11.1%. So even though it feels like speed glyphs are less common, from my testing, with about 350 something runs, speed glyphs are right on par with the expected percentage that it should be if they are all evenly weighted. Which honestly, I'm pretty glad to see. I would be disappointed if they were manipulating the numbers to make speed glyphs less common. That would be kind of a bad thing to do in my opinion. So I am glad to see that in my testing, the speed glyph is right on par with the percentage of time that it should be dropping. And then the last thing I want to touch on is stage 21 worth it? Should an endgame player be farming stage 21? Because it typically takes about 2 to 4 times longer. Your average endgame team is going to do stage 20 in about 2.5 to 4 minutes, somewhere in there. And then for stage 21, it can be anywhere from 3.5 to 10 minutes. It just depends. It's a pretty wide range. The stage 21s vary in difficulty a lot, and then in terms of the team itself that can farm it is gonna vary a lot. Now I've got a couple stage 21s that I can do pretty quickly. The undead here, you can see I do stage 21. Let me put this away so you can see what I'm talking about. My undead team, you can see, does stage 21 in about 2.5 to 3 minutes. My high elves team does stage 21 in about 3 to 3.5 minutes. So you can do some of them pretty quickly. My lizard team is about 3 minutes, but then there's some of them like barbarians that can take 9-10 minutes for me. So it really just depends. It's typically going to take somewhere between 2 and 4 times longer. So in my opinion, I don't really think it's worth it to farm stage 21. Now you can see on the data that it did say that speed glyphs tended to drop a little bit more common in stage 21 versus stage 20. I think that's just a sample size thing. I think I had good RNG for speed glyphs on stage 21, and I had bad RNG in speed glyphs for stage 20 because it perfectly balanced out to be right around that 11.1% that you would expect. So I will keep charting it to make sure, and if I notice a discrepancy, I will definitely keep you guys up to date. But I don't think there is any difference in terms of how often speed glyphs drop in stage 21 or the quality of glyphs in stage 21 compared to stage 20. So honestly, I think stage 21 is just a boss fight. It's something that you want to complete, you want to 3-star, and then besides that, I wouldn't force yourself to grind stage 20 for 10 or 15, or I mean stage 21 for 10 or 15 minutes if you can do stage 20 in 2 or 3 minutes. I wouldn't force yourself into stage 21. If you can do stage 21 comparably as fast, like you can see with my undead team, it's 2:20 versus 1:50. Sure, why not? Do stage 21 just in case it is that ever so slightly better. But from my testing, it doesn't seem like it's worth doing runs in stage 21 if they're 2 or 3 times longer. You might as well just do stage 20 if it's easier for you. So yeah, guys, I'll end it there and wrap things up. I don't want to ramble on for too long about glyphs and stuff, but I didn't want to wait 2 years to make this video. But I do apologize for the sample size not being as big as I would personally like it to be. It's just tough. It's tough to get a massive sample size with faction wars and glyphs and all that, because I can't refresh the keys. So I did my best to get as much data as I could for you, and then try to talk about it and give it some context. So take that as you may, and form your own opinions, and definitely let me know down in the comments if you've done any testing and what you've experienced and anything else that we should know about faction wars. I wanted to get this video out there to drive a discussion about optimizing our time in faction wars, and this will and hopefully use this as a starting point to drive this discussion about glyph farming. And remember how I talked about earlier in the video, I will have a link to my video about glyph value if you want to check that out, because we do see them in offers every now and then, as they kind of have slowly been creeping up in different offers in raid, like the speed sets and the artifact sets and the accessory sets. We're starting to see these glyph offers kind of creep up, so I wanted to get something out there about glyph value. I will have something pop up and have that down in a pinned comment for you. But yeah, that'll do it for this one, and I'll continue working on this and let you know if any statistical anomalies start coming up. So let me know what you think down in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.